Eating post-show for success. Everyone, I'm John Jewett with J3U University. We elevate the physique coaching standard. All right, let's dive into it. We're going to handle how do you set up nutrition for immediately getting off stage, and what do you do to make a productive transition to the off-season period. So we're going to have the context here that we're moving someone post-show into off-season. We're not doing multiple shows where you have a show the next week or even in a few weeks. So this truly is, you're ending the season here at this show. Now, what I like to do is with the athletes that I coach is what's usually restricted all day long in show day is fluids. And moving into post-show, what we see a lot of time happens is this big fluid rebound, weight comes way up, and usually they're really glycogen spilt over. And I try to manage that a lot for health reasons also, but trying to get someone back to a baseline to where we can start up this post-show off-season phase. So what I like to encourage you, like right when people get off stage, is hydration. That's the thing that hasn't been in place. And also if they're going to eat something off plan, likely will be, that'll be very high in sodium. Just continuing to add more sodium and more carbohydrates, fats in without a lot of fluid is where we're going to see someone just be sodium loading. And then when they finally get enough fluid in them, they're going to explode like a sponge. And so to mitigate that, I'd rather see them get hydrated first and then put some food in. So I try to encourage, hey, right off stage, get in like 30, 40 ounces of fluid before you do anything. Doesn't need to be Gatorade. We don't want more sodium in. We just want water. Then from there, have a meal out, enjoy your family and friends. Try not to go way over the top. Don't hoard stuff in your hotel room to go eat. Just have a celebration meal, something that you enjoy, maybe a small dessert, and then end it there. The next day, it really depends on the athlete. And if you have experience with them, you probably know the best way to manage that to where how much they can eat off plan. And it usually will come down to what is their baseline calories that they were at moving into the show. I have some guys that are really high calorie needs that they could have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner of their choice. And it's not going to impact them. Other people just, hey, maybe one more meal is kind of the advisable start point. So I would say, hey, the next day after the show, pick a breakfast or pick a dinner. But the rest of the time, let's just stick to like protein and vegetables. And so that will be the start point for like a Sunday, and making sure and encouraging, like, keep your step count up high, like get active, get outdoors, like do some enjoyable activities. That way they're moving as well. And then getting right back to their normal hydration and fluid amount that they were having before the show. And the big thing here is like people know, how do I pull off all this water? It's like getting back to your normal fluid intake and maintaining a constant sodium intake. The issues rise when you have this constant fluctuations of sodium with people continuing to eat off plan. So try to limit that as much as possible, but also having those meals of protein veggies will help pull glycogen down a little bit from all the loading that happened just the day before with the celebration meal and even show day. So moving into that next day, so Monday, we had our celebration time with the family. What I like to do, now personally for me, I will go another day of protein veggies to make a really hard hit of dropping down glycogen. Usually at that point, I don't want any food. I just want my normal proteins and veggies as well. I'm ready to be on plan. So I do start a day of that with normal fluids, normal sodium to really get a jump and head start to pull off water and try to get back to a baseline. So this first week is what I'm trying to do is get my visuals pretty much back to a pre-peak week look. So I want to see all that condition lines back in place. I want to get my body weight pretty close to where I was at when I had a degree of fullness. So I don't want to be stepping into peak week when I'm fully depleted, because that's not realistic post-show, but also not when I'm like fully loaded. So something in between here. So say you were like pre-peak week at 230, you brought your calories up to maintenance and you end up sitting around 232, trying to get pretty close to that. So 232, 234. So that first day, Monday, would be like protein veggies. Then the next day after, I start the last diet that I had that was pulling me down pre-peak week. So not my maintenance calories, but just a little bit below it. And I let that body weight keep trending down. That's going to help you get back to fluid balance a little quicker too. And so within, a few days, 3 to 4 days, you're going to see that weight start to stabilize and probably get pretty close to that body weight. I'm also looking for hunger signaling to kick back up. That'll start happening when glycogen levels are getting a little bit lower. And then once I'm there, that's when I'll make the food increase. And I'll start with a 30% calorie increase for someone that was truly stage lean, because I do want weight gain to happen. And I also don't want to be overly conservative too, to where we're just feeding at maintenance and they're just expending more calories. And that's a situation you see a lot of times where individuals have food higher and they're actually still losing weight because they're burning more calories from their food, now being able to train, they're getting more active. And so you're still in a calorie deficit, and that's not what we want. So I'll hit them hard with a 30% increase. If they weren't as pulled down from their body fat set point, maybe they didn't get quite stage lean, a 15% increase would be more justified, as I don't want as rapid fat weight gain to occur. And yes, some fat gain needs to occur during this phase. And then I'll just check in every 3 days and adjust it from there. As far as like eating off plan from there, I usually have enough food in place to, hey, during the week, we stick to your macros and you can adjust accordingly to fit in foods that you like. So this is not eating like completely off plan, but being very flexible in the foods that you pick. So you can have anything. You just have to fit it within these macronutrients. Now, once a week, have an untracked meal. And as far as how far of tracking that needs to occur, just depends on the athlete. Like ideally, I'm trying not to have someone gain more than 1% to 2% body weight those first few weeks. And then because I really want this phase to end with someone being able to be at their leanest point starting the off season without any type of contest prep, negative adaptations that are present. So the leaner I can make that happen, the better. It's going to be different for everyone for what they can tolerate and where they need to be. But for an untracked meal, usually some people can go so far above calorie surplus wise that the rest of the week has to be a bit more restrictive to manage that weekly weight gain. So for some people, they can completely manage themselves and have something off plan and look at their hunger cues. Sometimes those hunger cues are so skewed that it's really not something you need to go off of, and we need to start setting more guidelines. So it's like, hey, what'd you go eat? Okay, you had the 5 sushi rolls covered in all the sauces. How about we just have, next time you go out, you have 3 rolls and don't do sauces, right? Or maybe it's like, we know, okay, you can go out and you can go do the chicken fajitas and these things. And then you can have this Greek restaurant and you have this go-to food item. So you'll have a list of like some go-to food items that they know like fit within this plan that aren't going to send them way over. It's a rare situation where you have someone that can go out every weekend and have pizza and burgers and these like really high fat, calorie laden foods without having the repercussions of like gaining too fast body weight in this post-show period. So this post-show period, really staying lean and allowing some fat gain, of course, but this really is going to determine all the way to the next type of prep you're going to have and the type of off season you're going to have, because it's going to determine how much runway you're going to have to grow in the off season, then also how much you're going to have to pull off at the end of this off season to get back on stage. So this first week is crucial all the way to your next peak week. And that's why I think it's so important. We have a whole post-show module in J3U. So if you want to learn more about where you fit into the spectrum and how to manage it, check it out.